Well, we did it for 13 straight weeks, which is still amazing to me that it actually managed to happen. Every episode of Stargirl dropped. 13 weeks in a row. That is super impressive. That is rare to see. And you know what? It was pretty good. There's been a few hiccups in this season. I'll admit it. I think the middle half, I think 7 to maybe 10 had a few hiccups. I didn't love every episode, and I don't think it sold itself that great in the end. Sadly, it didn't work completely. That all being said, this finale was pretty cool. A lot of highs, some lows, but I don't know. I think as far as the finale goes for Stargirl, it's hard to beat season 1. That first season of that show was super cool. This second season, there's some lot of cool stuff in here. I don't think I like this season more than the first one, which is okay. It doesn't need to be better. I just think there are so many opportunities in here where it's just felt, you feel the COVID nature of it. You feel the lack of preparation in the acting, and I wish there was more to this season that excited me, because unfortunately, this season just didn't capture my enjoyment perfectly. So this entire episode was very weirdly paced. Honestly, I think it didn't work perfect in its pacing. So pretty much the first, I want to say 35 minutes of this episode is just beating Eclipso. So the team rallies together. We have an opening scene where people are kind of like fighting an evil version of themselves. You know, Cindy's fighting her younger self. Pat's fighting a version of Stripe C. Wildcats are fighting. I liked the Wildcat fight. We don't really like see Wildcat, like the Ted Grant one, as a main character. You know, we've had Jay Garrick get some play. We've had Dr. Midnighter. We haven't really seen Ted Grant. But the actor they got, is it Lou Ferrigno's kid? I think it's Lou Ferrigno Jr. Who's that? Or he's the other one. I can't remember, but it works. I think he's pretty good for that role. I'm not saying it's the best cast, but I like it. So that fighting's pretty cool. But then it's just kind of like, all culminate together in the middle of town for the fight. And I think that's cool, but it's also a lot of just kind of like easy wins. So I don't know, the pacing is just so weird in here. We spend a lot of time with Mike and Jakeem, which I like. I like both those characters. They're very fun. Jim Gaffigan's back as Thunderbolt, which I think is really cool. So they kind of get Stripe working. It's just weird. Like, so we have our initial fight at the beginning. Courtney kind of gets turned later. She consumes the essence of Eclipso, like she gives into the hate when he's about to like kill Pat, and everybody kind of like comes together in that moment. And then it's just a whole lot of like fight, person, all come together for the final moment. So everyone kind of has their moment to do their things with Eclipso. You know, Rick comes in because he wants to do it. He can't get the hourglass back together, but he wants to come in and help out. So who does he call? Probably one of my favorite moments actually is just Solomon Grundy coming in to beat the crap out of Eclipso. I thought that was pretty cool. Like that scene, it just looked great. Grundy dies, and we see later that Rick's burying him, and then it's just kind of like, well, he'll be back. You know, Grundy always finds a way of coming back, so that's kind of cool. When Thunderbolt tries to attack Eclipso, I think that's great use. Again, Thunderbolt is a great character to throw in here because, yeah, of course he wouldn't die. I like the way he just like, okay, okie dokie, let's go. He tries to charge through Eclipso, doesn't work, gets stuck in Stripe. It's cool. And by the way, I feel like they were setting up to have Mike pilot Stripe. It's fun. They really used their budget well in this final episode where it's like, now we can use Stripe. We broke them all season, so we just have the giant, you know, like, just robots sitting by that we know it's there, and eventually it's going to come up. And when it does, I guess it works just fine. And they used it good. I liked that a lot, you know? It's not bad. It's just weird. It's such a weirdly paced episode. Because then, you know, Jenny's just okay somehow. She comes to the fight. Yeah, like, why? Why is she just suddenly okay? Somebody comes to the door to talk to Barbara, and they're just like, okay, who could that be? We all kind of know who it's going to be. It's weird, though. It's weird. And then we see, like, okay, everyone's culminating in the circle. We think we got everybody there, and then they're just beating up Eclipso. So I know there's people who might be hesitant about, like, how you defeat the final boss, like the power within you will unleash him. So he does get Courtney. Breck does some great acting where she's actually shouting at him like, I hate you. Then that's enough power for him to come in and take her body, which is kind of fun. But then, it's just like she does some good acting where she's beating up her teammates. She's very strong in that regard. And then it's just like you have to fight the evil within you. And you see the cosmic staff gets turned to, which is kind of interesting to see. I like it a lot. But we're like, okay, how are we going to defeat Eclipso? He's got a lot of power in him. We're trying to get the person, like, come out and fight. Then surprise, surprise, literally out of nowhere. Like, it literally, this is where I'm like, the pacing is weird here. Literally out of nowhere, Sylvester shows up. I'm like, what? He's been spending all 2 seasons trying to get here. What? Then he grabs a hold of the staff. Literally no one's like saying anything. It's just like, oh, look, Sylvester's here. That's normal. I guess because Dr. Midnight's back, it's okay for these guys to come back now. So he helps Courtney break free. And then we just have like all these people standing over the body of Eclipso. And this is where I'm like, this is cool. Like, this is a JSA shot together. We have, Courtney and Pat and Yolanda and Rick and Beth and Dr. McNider and Jenny's there and Stripe is there and Jakeem and Thunderbolt are there. And then we have Sylvester there. And then for some reason, the Shade is alive again. He, like, the power of the Shadowlands coming onto Earth lets the Shade come back, so he's there too. And then for no reason at all, the Crocs are back, so Sportsmaster and Tigress are there of Artemis for no reason. And Cindy's there too. And you're like, why is there so many people in this scene when we already defeated him? Like, there's really no reason for the Crocs to show up. There's no reason for the Shade to do anything helpful. And basically it just goes, every person with the powers of light, kill Eclipso. So you see Sylvester and Courtney working with the staff. You see Jenny using the ring. Thunderbolt strikes him down. Jakeem's like, toast this guy. And he's like, can do. Eclipso turns to toast. And I'm just like, that's just easy. I don't know, It's like, I know the show I'm watching. I know how these shows go too. When all the power culminates, it defeats the evil. But I think they did such a good job of setting up Eclipso as a threat that having him be defeated so easily kind of disappoints me. It's like he kidnapped Courtney, used Courtney's body. She was easily broken free from that. It's just like undermines everything else he did in the season where all these people, couldn't defeat him. And I think that's kind of weak, It's interesting. And I don't know if I like it. So I guess Eclipso's bred, and he's not going to be dead. He's going to come back for whatever reason. He's going to come back, and that's okay. But I just really that's it just felt really rushed. Where it's like we have to almost fill time for the action to make it work. So we'll have the character beat here of the Dr. Midnights. We'll have the beat over here doing this and that and the other thing. And then it just like stops. And then we just have like a break where things just change. So, we see that Chuck's going to go find his wife. His wife was pregnant at the time. And we see Beth is like, hey, she's over here in Iowa, I think. So why don't you go check it out? So he's going to go there. We now have a Dr. Midnight. I do like the storyline element where Beth's parents really support her being a superhero. And they have all these ideas. And suddenly the fact that she's doing this saves their marriage. I think that's funny. That's a good joke. It works. We see that Cindy is also going to stay in town and wants to join the JSA, much to the chagrin of Yolanda, which, okay, that could be kind of fun. We also see that the Shade is going to stay in Blue Valley. Like, how many series regulars are we adding? That's a lot. That's quite a bit. We also see that Sylvester's going to stay and live with them for a bit. They don't explain it at all. They do not explain at all how Sylvester survived, which I guess is some, like, intense thing they're going to do next season. It's not interesting. I'm just like, you can't just like toss him in here suddenly. It's weird. And it just doesn't flow the story naturally. And then it just becomes like when you try to give that character the moments of Courtney. So Sylvester and Courtney are like, I'm not here for the staff. I think it's impressive that it shows you. You don't feel the weight of that because why is Sylvester here in the first place? If we knew why he was alive, I still think he's evil. Like, why else would he be here if he's not evil? It's literally just insane. So we also see that Rick's going to go solve some stuff. We see him bury Grundy again. Jenny's going to go find her brother. We've been teasing the brother forever. We'll come back to that at the end here. And, Mike and Jakeem might start their own superhero team, which, yeah, cool. get that generation doing their own thing. I think that could be really exciting. It's a fine episode. It really is. Like, you fought the villain, you defeated him. It looked good for the most part. The glamour shot when everyone's together is really cool. I like that. And it looks like for next season, the theme is going to be frenemies because they teased the Crocs moving in next door. So Sportsmaster and Tigress and Artemis are going to be living next door to the Dugans and Whitmores. Okay, that's kind of fun, I guess. I mean, is Artemis going to be on the JSA now? Maybe. It's weird because it's like, these are a lot of characters to introduce. Now, I don't think, like, you know, the Crocs are going to be, like, main cast members, but it flowed kind of well without them in the season, and now it looks like they're going to be back. It's kind of a lot to take in. Could work or it could fail, but either way, it seems like there's a lot going on there. But the end cap of this season was the tease for the next season coming 2022. They already confirmed it. A third season, I should say, is on the way. They teased that at the home that Todd was staying at, there's a person talking to, like, the headmistress there. It's like, yeah, like, the JSA are back looking for this kid, so we have to figure out what to do there. Now, at the beginning of the episode, they show, like, the cast that's appearing, also guest starring Keith David. And I went, what the hell is what? He hasn't been in here all season. And I'm watching the episode, I'm like, where's Keith David gonna be? And then it's the last 10 seconds of the episode. You hear his voice. You're like, this is Keith David. Who the hell is Keith David going to play? And then we get the reveal that Keith David, legendary voice actor and just one of the most recognizable voices on television, he is going to be Mr. Bones. And I don't know what the hell they did, but Mr. Bones looks terrible. I was like, what the hell? Is that Mr. Bones? I'm like, why does he look so smooth and disjointed? It looks so dumb. It's a skull. Make it a skull. Why does it have to look so stupid like that? Interesting. So maybe they're going to do like the DEO stuff with Mr. Bones. It could happen. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a really fascinating tease that does set up the next season, but doesn't like do anything with it. So that's interesting. Overall, this finale was fun. I had a smile on my face seeing all the characters interacting, having the teams come into play, all these characters showing up. It's cool. Even if there's no like real reason for them to be there, I understand why it's in the finale, because that is just like your big climactic ending. I do think the pacing was all over the place, and I do think the Eclipso stuff could have been handled better at the end. Again, writing finales is really hard because how do you capture that magic for the final moment? So I get that completely. But Breck gets a lot to do in here. I think that's really fun. Luke Wilson gets a lot to do in here, so that's really fun. And I'm curious to see where the story goes because I'll be honest, I don't know if it can support another season. It just feels like we tread a lot of ground here and it didn't go anywhere special. Like, we defeated the evil pretty easily. So maybe it'll get better, but it's okay. It's an okay finale. I can't complain about that because you know what? It worked. It had its ending, and it was kind of good. So that is going to do it for these reviews of Stargirl. Season 2 has been a very hit-or-miss situation, but overall, it did hit okay. I would say maybe like a 6 out of 10 this season is what I would give it, but it was kind of fun. So thank you guys so much for watching these reviews. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.